What's happening, ladies and germs? It's the PackerMan, and welcome to today's edition of All Elite Review, where we're going to be reviewing the 39th episode of AEW Dynamite from August the 5th, 2020. This is going to be super brief because I'm actually starting to record this at 10 o'clock because I've had a lot of other stuff to do, so let's just go ahead and breeze right through this. The opening match was a 12-man tag between FTR and the Elite against the Dark Order. Some people are just not a fan of the big multi-man matches because they can be clusterfucks at times. But this one was definitely one of the better ones. Highlights include Nick doing an Avalanche Frankensteiner, some double team offense by the Dark Order, some great offense by the Elite as well. And after a FTR double team where Cash really did like an elbow drop onto one of the Dark Order members off of Dax Harwood's knee, kind of starts selling a possible knee injury. Hopefully it's just a work and just good selling and not an actual knee injury, because that would suck. The finish of the match was Brody Lee hitting a discus lariat on Page for the win after ducking Page's own lariat, the buckshot lariat. So the Dark Order get one over on the Elite. But it was a good match overall. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. And then we had kind of a backstage segment with John Moxley talking about Darby Allin and how Allin will put his body on the line against Moxley for the world title. Of course, I'm paraphrasing here. Second match was a tag match between Proud and Powerful and the Best Friends. Best Friends hit with some great tag team wrestling. Chuck does the Falcon Arrow on both Santana and Ortiz. Proud and Powerful hit a nice rolling cutter, sit-out powerbomb, penalty kick combo on Trent for a 2 count. But Trent gets a victory roll on Ortiz for the 3 count and the victory. Kind of a weird way to end that match, but you know, it's whatever. I give this match 3 stars out of 5. Then we have a backstage segment where MJF is still on the campaign trail for the world title. We had like a bunch of cronies all around him and shit. And then you have Matt Hardy coming out on the mic talking about how he wanted to join a company where he would be respected. And then Sammy comes out from under the ring and both start going at each other. And then there was one point where Guevara tossed a chair at Matt Hardy. Apparently there was actually a gimmick chair that was at ringside, but he couldn't find it, so he grabbed a different chair and threw it right at Matt, which busted Matt wide open. And some reports had saying that there was some heat on Sammy Guevara for it. Although I think that that definitely affected him a little bit in terms of, you know, that wasn't part of the plan. You know, and I think it definitely affected Guevara a little bit because when he tried to go for his 630 onto Matt, who is now laying on a table, he kind of under-rotated on the 630, and he nearly broke his own neck, you know what I mean? So I think the prospect of Matt bleeding very profusely, I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, the visual was good, you know, and I think it kind of enhanced, you know, the bad blood, quote unquote, in the storyline between Hardy and Guevara, but it was definitely not part of the plan, and I think that affected Guevara a little bit. And of course, he didn't show it because, you know, he's a wrestler and he's supposed to, you know, it's like supposed to be badass, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure when he got backstage, he felt pretty fucking terrible because that was not part of the plan whatsoever. And then we see a backstage interview, or not backstage, another backstage segment of Proud and Powerful basically destroying Trent's mom's van after the Best Friends basically used it to arrive at the arena. They basically use sledgehammers and they bust out all the windows, you know, and all this other different shit. So the feud between the Best Friends, you know, as a collective and the Inner Circle continues. Of course, you know, Chris Jericho has been feuding with Orange Cassidy. Best Friends have basically been going at it with Proud and Powerful. So it's kind of like another big old war that's going on between two big factions. But then we get to the third match, which is the tag match between the Bieber Boys, who are the underlings in the Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds, up against Cody and the debuting Matt Cardona, who looks absolutely fucking jacked compared to his time in WWE. Matt Cardona looked really good in this match. I mean, you'd think he would have some kind of ring rust, but I mean, it's like because I think he also said that it was his first match in like 5 months. And the ring rust didn't really seem to be visible, like at all. And it also looked like Cody might have actually suffered a rib injury because he was holding his ribs quite a bit during the match, and I don't think that was selling. And of course, he suffered a legitimate rib injury before. I mean, I remember back to that match against Jericho at Full Gear when he took that nosedive onto that metal ramp and ended up with a separated rib and a big old gash across his eye. So hopefully the injury is not that serious. But the Beaver Boys get some good double team moves in, including a nice combo on Cardona when they were just doing all these different moves to him, which was just crazy. But Cardona hits the newly renamed Radio Silence, which used to be called the Rough Rider, which is basically that jumping leg lariat, the inverted famouser, if you want to go that route too. He's renamed it the Radio Silence for the 3 count and the victory. I gave this match 3.25 stars out of 5. And then Scorpio Sky comes up to Cody at the entrance and basically knocks on the title a little bit. That's basically wrestling talk for, hey, I want a shot at the title. And you know, to be fair, he's won 7 straight matches. You know what I mean? On Dark. So by that logic, you know, it should make sense that he should get a title shot. So this coming Wednesday, they're going to have the TNT Championship between Cody and Scorpio Sky. Best Friends, of course, you know, then cut a promo about, you know, Proud and Powerful basically destroying Trent's mom's van. So they basically said, we're going to beat your ass and then you're going to apologize to my mom on loudspeaker, or on speakerphone. And then Sammy Guevara comes back out for a second with cue cards, basically setting the stage for the next segment, which was the debate between Jericho and Orange Cassidy. And the special guest moderator was Eric Bischoff, which was highly rumored, and it turned out to be true. And I think it was one of the reasons why this show got over 900,000 viewers, which is I think the first time they gotten over 900,000 in quite some time. And this is during the pandemic. You know, this is, you know, when they have a studio show and shit, and they're getting 900,000 viewers. That's pretty fucking incredible. Orange, after several questions, basically just comes out with fire and says, Jericho, I know what you're trying to do, and next week on Dynamite, I'm going to beat you and embarrass you, you know, and all that stuff. And then Jake Hager comes out, jumps Cassidy, which allows Jericho to hit the Judas effect, and then the Best Friends come out and run the both of them off. The next match was pretty much a nothing match. I mean, it was Reba, the assistant of Britt Baker, against Big Swole. Basically what it had built up to is Britt Baker was going to handpick an opponent for Big Swole, and she chose Reba. Now, to be fair, Reba wrestled as Rebel in Impact Wrestling, but I think they thought that she had a little bit of ring rust, which I don't think she's wrestled in a bit since Impact, I don't think. But some of the moves that she did looked really good, like the middle rope moonsault. It actually looked pretty good, although she nearly busted her face on Big Swole's ass, which is kind of funny. But basically, it was just a nothing match. It was a 3-minute match. Big Swole hit her Dirty Dancing, which she didn't use the ripcord variation. She just did the discus elbow and got the 3 count and the victory, which of course sets up Baker and Swole, I'm assuming, at All Out. So I gave this match 2 stars out of 5. It was an amp match. Then we had the main event, the AEW World Championship between Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. And as is to be expected, the match was extremely physical. Darby hit a nice somersault plancha from the post to the outside, which was nice. He hit a Yoshi Tonic for a close 2 count. Near the end, MJF comes out and nails Moxley with the title belt, which actually busted Moxley open. And then, excuse me, Darby hits the coffin drop and gets a long 2 count. Goes for the coffin drop again, but Moxley counters it into the rear naked choke, which is something that we saw the previous time these two went at each other. And then Moxley hit a Gotch pile driver. Only got a 2 count though. And then he hits the Death Rider and finally gets the 3 count and the victory. So still your AEW World Champion obviously is Jon Moxley. Because, I mean, it's obvious that he was going to retain the title here, but mainly because, you know, it's going to be him and MJF at All Out. And, you know, the speculation is MJF is going to win the world title at All Out. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that one. And for the main event, I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. It definitely didn't feel like it had the pizzazz that the previous meeting had, but I mean, it was still solid. You know, again, it's another easily watchable show. You know, no real complaints here. So my final rating for this episode of Dynamite, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. You know, standard score, but you know, it's just been pretty solid for the most part. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of All Elite Review. Thank you very much for watching. Here are my updated rankings, and until next time, this is the PackerMan signing out. See you later. You better like and subscribe or face the consequences. You have been warned.